I am your one-person intervention. I am your one-person intervention. I am your one-person intervention.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. You know who I am. The DOXX Report. Well, it's Wednesday, midweek. Just we'll get a stream in. You know where I'm. Frank, where are we from?
Del Boca Vista.
Thank you, Frank. And if you want to know more about the DOXX Report, just go in the description. And we'll welcome Pasta aboard. He's on lunch. He's a worker. He's in his 60s. He's still working. And guess who else went back to work? Patrick. Now that's kind of shocking to me, but he doesn't like being retired, is what he said. Welcome to Patrick. Discipline, leadership, discipline, diligence, integrity, civility. Does Green Room, he's Peter Pan. He's not going to grow up. Tenzio, good afternoon. Lex, how can Green Room run a successful show? What, over the Horology Dungeon? He's not going to take that up. He's got his own channel. He's not interested. He's a gamer. He wants to waste his life away on gaming. Another one on YouTube that unemployable. Believe ever amount to anything? I don't think so. I don't know. And, oh, by the way, when you hear this stuff, that kind of stuff, or me drinking, that's pushing the water. If I'm going to have a drink, I'll tell you. I'm not ashamed of it. But not a big deal. All right, so what do we got here? Oh, yeah. Oh, I had made an appointment to the car dealership. Another beautiful day in the villages, says Pavel. Yes, it is. Made an appointment this morning early. It was probably 6:30, and it's out of town, so I had to get up at 4 a.m., and I showered, shaved, and I kind of empty out the car. So, took it up there. And of course, you push the water in the morning, and that's a little dangerous because you're on the road, and they don't open till 6:30. I get there at 6:15, and my bladder needed emptying. And I guess I could beg, knock on the door. I'm not going to do that. Luckily, this is Florida. They had a palm tree. They had a fence line. Not a big deal. But it was a good dealership. The coffee, not as good as Subaru. I'm sorry. The Subaru is not as good at the coffee. And they checked me in. It was free, and I did change the oil, had the oil changed, and I asked him, now here's the trick on the wireless charging in the Toyota. I told him about it. I says, I got to use the cable. I put it on there, it charges, then it just shuts off. It won't charge. He said, and I said, I got a case. Oh, you have the phone, you got to take it out of the case. Really? Well, even though it's got a magnet on the case, you have to take it out of the case. Really? Are you sure? 100% it'll work. But he prefers using the cable anyway. It's a data cable. And I don't mind it. It's out of the way, and it's maybe that's the reason I can get YouTube music on it. I can open the YouTube music app. So that's more reliable than a Wi-Fi setting. So it was good. Large showroom. They got chairs everywhere. And the guy was friendly, and I made PDFs of the thing. So that's my first free oil change, 1,000 miles. And I said, I got to come in. Yeah, you got to be in 6 months to keep the maintenance warranty, to keep the warranty. So I'm going to do that. But I realize it doesn't get, the sunrise is not till 6:30. So I'm leaving at like 5:40 and it's dark. So I got prescription glasses and it's at night. I don't like driving at night. So I'm thinking, oh, wait, I got them inside. I have 2 prescription glasses, clear lenses. I got one for in here, which I never use for the TV. Where's the other pair? So it's in the car, logically. I put it in the car. I found it. So put on my glasses, went up there. And since I got the oil change and it's been 1,000 miles, it's broken in as far as I'm concerned. So I used the paddles coming back. The manual, I put it into manual, used the paddles. Different animal. Wow, a different animal. And you don't, like a stick shift, you gotta take your foot off the gas. At least I did, and push the clutch in, and put it in gear and change gears. This thing, you don't even take your foot off the gas. It's just bam, bam, 1, 2, 3, 4, fourth gear, fifth gear, and just get the RPMs up. It's a beast. Yeah, of course, you got to remember, then you got to have both hands on the wheel because you go the left hand, you got to come down in the gears. So, and there's some lights involved, so I just, downshift. But it was pretty fun. But around, just going to the gym, fitness center and the Wawa, nah, I'm not gonna mess with the paddle shifters. But you go out of town and it's kind of fun. There's 50 mile an hour, 55 mile an hour, and a lot of traffic too, early in the morning. No, I don't drink any bottled water. All out of the tap. Just out of the tap. How many miles were on that oil? 1,000. But you know what? It's good they changed it. And then I was getting hungry, so I hit Wawa on the back. It's a great day. It was in the 70s. The sun's not up. The sun was rising when I was up there, and just beautiful, cool, not humid, not raining, just fantastic. A little early for me, but I may make the appointment from now on at 6:30. I got out of there at 7:30, talked to the guy, had a couple other, what was my other question? Yeah, I had him scrape something off the window, and let's see. Yeah, there's some kind of car guard they put on the exterior. And he says, well, every dealership has their own thing, they call it, but it's some kind of protectant. I don't know. I'll have to, I like to get a car detailed like once a year, but it looks great now if I keep it out of the rain. 1,000 miles, 1,000 something. And I asked him, do you need my ID or anything? He goes, no, you're in the system. And, the vehicles got you couldn't remove, what do they call it? The serial numbers of the vehicle? If you wanted to, they're everywhere. They're on the door, they're on the hatch. You couldn't find them all. They're on the engine, they're on the front, the back of the car, everywhere. Tenzil, Lex, in the biker bar, no good deed goes unpunished. Code for that. Well, you know who I don't think the horology can make a comeback, horology dungeon, unless, you already got the biker bar, and you know which one that is. And it gets the large audience, and I don't know how you can compete with that, unless you get a real watch talker in there. You get, what's his name? Kiwi. I got a piece of paper here. I got a thing from the wholesale club. I want to see what kind of deals they have. Nah, nothing really. So that would be hard to compete with. Why does the biker bar attract people from all walks of life? Decamillionaires? Well, alleged decamillionaire. Convicts, restaurant owners in Japan, Aussie musicians, senior citizens, Curly. Well, Curly's they just like to cut loose. It's not for me. I went over there, I turned the sound off, but he's showing my bird cage, but those are old photos. I don't, he's running his mouth. I don't know what he's saying. So at least I get some advertising. And I did notice squeaky wheel mental. He's over there broadcasting, but he's been on for 2.5 hours. That's plenty. You know, you can't take up the whole time zone thing. And that was a pretty good game. I didn't watch the whole game. The who was it? Spain and who did Spain play? Why am I drawing a blank? Drawing a blank. I know it's going to be England and France. So as long as it's competitive, I don't want it to go to a shootout at the very end. I think I won't watch it because it's really they're tied, and it's like really you take it down to that. You got to. I don't want a 3-0, but 2-1, 3-2, but competitive, and it was a pretty good game. Spain clearly is a good team. Now I don't know who to cheer for in England because that's tonight, this afternoon, I think, England and Argentina. Because I like to see the best player in the world, win, go out on that. That's kind of cool. But then, England made it this far, and they're playing the last year's champion. So as long as it's a competitive game, I don't want to see any blowouts. Well, any commenting on him, he brought it on himself, right? Pavel Angus continuing on his reintegration tour, demanding super wrenches at each stop. Really? Okay. That would be an interesting fit for him to run the dungeon, but I don't think it will end well. Tanzil, Pavel ain't wrong. Higgy baby has been in the news. So I made a strange thumbnail for today's show. Where is it? It's right here. That's some kind of look-alike to Dr. Phil, I guess. Well, he's in the UFO camp now. Now he's pissed off because the government's been lying to us. He's kind of late to the party, but yeah.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Probably not to that level, but he's in the game. So I wonder what his credentials were. So his name is Dr. Phil 1L McGraw. He has a BA in psychology from now this is Chat GPT, from Midwestern State University, MA, Masters in Arts, is that it? In experimental psychology from North Texas State University, now the University of North Texas, PhD in clinical psychology from North Texas State University in 1979. His doctoral dissertation, rheumatoid arthritis, a psychological invention. Excuse me, a psychological intervention. Rheumatoid arthritis, a psychological intervention. Should have considered an obesity, a psychological intervention. It's held in the University Digital Library. Postdoctoral training in forensic psychology. I was watching a little bit of Ted Bundy in the courtroom. They have a clip where the judge is admonishing him for being late. He wouldn't get out of bed. He was complaining about the treatment he was getting in the jail. And then since you're in the Google algorithm now, they have post-mortem photos of Bundy after the electric chair. He looks like he's sleeping. I mean, you can see the scars on his head from where the I don't know how many volts went through him. But he was calm. His eyes were open. So death must have been so instantaneous, and his eyes are open. He looks like he's asleep or just in a trance. I think it's legitimate. Back to Dr. Phil McGraw. Let's see, postdoctoral training in forensic psychology. He was a licensed psychologist in Texas, reportedly from 1979 until 2006, when he stopped renewing the license. The important distinction is that he is not a medical doctor or a psychiatrist. His doctor title comes from his PhD in psychology. He also is not currently a licensed practicing psychologist, although his academic doctorate remains valid. But he helped out Oprah Winfrey, remember, when she had that trouble with Texas? Got a lot of following, did very well in the TV business. So he has legitimate doctoral level psychology education, previous clinical experience, but his television appearances should not be considered a personal doctor-patient or therapist-patient related. Well, who does? I mean, mostly they're women. Do you notice that in the audience? Mostly women. All right, back to the course, the golf course. So, but he's coming out strong. He come out swinging on the UFOs, but he's entitled to his opinion, just like I am. He's a sentient human being, and he can express himself. He stayed out of jail for the most part. How many divorces? He's had a divorce, I know that much. I was kind of curious. I remember him. I don't watch the show regularly. I don't even know it's still on. But he had Robert Blake on, he got off for the murder charges, I guess. And Dr. Phil was going, oh, I feel sorry for you. You know, I don't want to hear you dying alone. It's like, Dr. Phil, we all die alone. We all make that journey ourselves. And now, that's not part of my, I'm not going to get involved in relationships so I don't die alone. I mean, hopefully, I think it's a blessing. If you die at home in your bed, no illness, no nothing, you're just gone. I mean, isn't that a blessing? No drama. But if I end up in a hospital room or a hospice, I'm going to talk to the nurse. I'm going to talk to people. Unless the guy is moaning and groaning in the bed next to me, then I want a different room. I don't want to listen to it. Let's see. Tenzio Lex, if the UAPs are in fact here, and an alien goes on TV and says that in fact the ancient Egyptians, well, it doesn't mean... They could really screw up a lot of things, you know. You know, Jesus really didn't do those miracles. We did those for him. You know, we sent him. You got to, I don't know what that's going to do. They don't get instant credibility just because, you know, they could still be the expert manipulators, right? Alien goes on TV and says, in fact, the ancient Egyptians were right and all religions after were false. Would that change the world? Not going to change me. Mine is not dependent on what they have to say about it. I have my own knowledge. I've experienced. They can't take that from me. I'm not one of the faithful. I have knowledge, and that upsets some people. But you can do it too. If I can do it, you can do it. But you got to want to know. I didn't set it up. But you have to surrender. And a lot of people can't do that because the devil, what's the devil? You, personal ego. A mega value customer. Thanks for making the effort to do live streams and videos. Well, you're welcome. I figured, why not? I mean, I look for stuff. Now, I did tune into the Dr. Bob show this morning. And but I was in a rush because I had to shower and shave, and I said something. I said good morning, but you got to want to do it. You got to do some prep, or just be honest and just have a conversation. If it really dies over here, then I'll just play music and hang out. But I got one clip. I really don't have any other stuff. But I don't really want to. The government is inoculating us with the UFO stuff. Now, how far will they go? Because they've got some smoking guns. I mean, forget the live. They got Gordon Cooper, astronaut Gordon Cooper. He filmed an alien landing, and the military picked him up in a Jeep. Now, they have that film. Let's see that one. Or let's see it come clean on Roswell. You know, and just, you know, show us debris or show us alien bodies and say, these are real. And have the president do that. But we got problems over here. I guess the president's going to have a big address on Thursday about voting or America, and he says it's bigger. It's as big as it gets. Okay, well, we'll see. According to Greg, how do you know that? Dr. Phil is not financially centered. Well, let's find out more about Dr. Phil. What's his net worth? I know he had a really nice classic Chevy, 56 Chevy or something that got stolen, but that got returned. And then he was married to that woman. I don't know how many marriages. Well, let's get personal with Dr. Phil. How many marriages? How many divorces? Net worth? Now, this is water I'm drinking. Not Dr. Phil McGraw. Okay, I've already read you this. Oh, he's been married twice. Debbie Higgins McCall, married in 1970. The marriage ended in 1973. Oh, 3 years. That's not too long. Some biographies describe it as a divorce, while others specify that it was annulled. Well, he was married for 3 years. Robin McGraw, married in 1976, and still married as of 2026. They have 2 sons. Oh, congratulations, Dr. Phil. I thought there was, I think that's the one that holds his hand when they go in and out of the show, I think. So the practical answer is 2 marriages and 1 marriage that ended. Counted 1 divorce. Estimated net worth. Come on now. You know your rock superstars and your other famous people. You know your Tanzil. You know that. What about Dr. Phil's net worth? What's your guess? I can't put that up there, Greg. No, you got to back that up. You got to back that up. Well, I'll ask. Or I'll give you the answer. His net worth is generally estimated, and this is only an estimate, at approximately $400 million to $460 million. Everyday millionaire? Is he an everyday millionaire, or he's a personality, entertainment personality? How would you describe him? Celebrity net worth and parade places it near $400 million. Well, some other 460. Okay, so no exist. Forbes previously reported annual earnings of $65.5 million for 2020, illustrating how lucrative his television and production business can be. So let me add to that question. Any bankruptcies? Bankruptcies, question mark. I actually spelled it right. Thinking. Well, it's not thinking, it's searching all its database. Okay, we've gone over that. We've done the marriages. Done the estimated bankruptcies. I found no credible evidence that Phil McGraw personally filed individual bankruptcy. However, Merritt Street Media, the television company he helped launch and back through his production interests, filed for Chapter 11, that's reorganization, right, in July 2025. In October 2025, a federal bankruptcy judge converted the case to a Chapter 7 liquidation, meaning the company's assets would be sold and distributed to creditors. The distinction is important. Personal bankruptcy by Dr. Phil, none. Bankruptcy of company closely associated with him, yes. Company Merritt Street Media. Original filing Chapter 11, later converted to Chapter 7 liquidation. Didn't Glenn Beck do wasn't he involved with some television or some business venture? So the basic picture is a legitimate, well, all right, now this is Chat GPT talking. Legitimate PhD psychologist, formerly licensed, married twice and 1 ended marriage, estimated worth around $400 million. It didn't hurt him. Of company bankruptcy. No verified personal bankruptcy, but his Merritt Street Media venture entered bankruptcy and liquidation. We came out smelling sweet, though. So congratulations to Dr. Phil. So that, I wouldn't call that his calling card, Greg. Well, it does. If they were so advanced, it didn't seem. Why do they crash? But they have crashed because they're doing technology. My theory is the aliens that built them don't fly them. That's hence the biologics. They bred. They're so far advanced in biology. They just we're not going to take risks. Let's put these creatures. They're part of the avionics. They're just trained to fly, and I know that Virginia, Brazil, where they were out running around. Who knows? But they crash, they burn. So, and the material we cannot duplicate as of this time. It just doesn't seem logical that humans could capture such superior beings traveling light. Well, we don't know if they're traveling light years. There's wormhole, there's quantum travel. Who knows? And they don't have any different physics than we do. They just understand it better. And arriving somewhat safely on Earth ain't no small feat. Yeah, who knows what kind of debris is out in space, right? If they are alive, they choose to. If they are alive, they choose to engage. Well, they haven't really. They kind of show, but they don't come over the Super Bowl, or they don't come over a football match. They don't really just introduce themselves. They did go over the Capitol in 1952 or 53. There's about 20 of them. But other than that, if you do your own research, you already know. But for the average, I mean, think about it. Do you really want to tell the average person? I mean, I think of the people I talk to, my neighbors, the fitness center, Wawa, Walmart, the doctor's office. I mean, people are struggling and they're aging, and you really want to you really want to give them the lowdown on the aliens and UFOs? What good can come of it? Be interesting to see how far they take this. Debbie what? I don't know what that means. Well, I have to research that, Greg. I'll now that I know the name of the company, I can look it up. But let me make a note of that. I got to look it up because I don't want. I'm in the verification business. I don't do rumors. So let me go back to that. Was he the CEO of the company? I wonder how that worked. Okay, Merit. It's probably online. I could look for it right now. Merit Street Media. What about Pluta Enterprises? Do you think Pluta's on here somewhere? Let's see if we can find it online. Merit Street Media. Excuse me. Bankruptcy PDF. Key document. Key documents case 25-80156. And the Honorable, here's another one. What is this one about? That won't open. Well, I'm going to have to research this. There's a lot of stuff I got to go through. Okay, well, now I know the district. I can look for it when I end the show. I'll bring it up next show, now that I know where it's at. You got anything on Tim Wright for me? Okay. Okay. Thank you. How much will human civilization advance in the next 20 years with the progression of AI? I won't be here. What do I care? I'm glad I landed when I did. I didn't have to work on a farm or die on a farm. You know, a small city, had a good life, a telephone at home, TV at home, Gilligan's Island at home. Then I lived to see the iPhone and computers. Got my first computer in 2020, so the technology thing I'm around. I don't know how far it's going to go, but it's not my key interest, you know. And all these people say, you know, we gotta as a species get off the planet. Oh, forget the species. How can we be better people towards one another? And if they've always been here, and allegedly they've been over ancient battlefields, they just let it happen. So you got these hordes going at each other and slaughtering each other. They just watch it happen. AI, I like it. I mean, it's helping me with my taxes, or making decisions, or even on Dr. Phil, just looking things up. And they do great thumbnails. But it doesn't mean it knows everything. It's a tool, just like the phone. But you're in charge of yourself, you know. Lex, you could be here. You could. Well, wait, he said you said in 20 years. Now my doctor. Oh, speaking of which, my doctor he left me. He went out of town. He's gone. My primary care provider. I got an appointment coming up, and I get a call from the office. Can I speak with DOXX, or can I speak with Lex? Speaking. Oh, Doctor so he's gone. He left the state, but we have these other two doctors. I said, really? Oh, okay. Well, okay. Let me look him up. I'll call you back. So the one guy, he looks like he's about 30. So Indian trained or India, but what the hell? I mean, so I signed up for that because the clinic is just down the street, and I don't want to go across town. I don't want to go to another town. I need just prescriptions and, you know, overall health. So signed up for that. So he left. I like the guy, but I can like this guy too. And that's the reason you do the 2-page medical history. So I'll go in there. That's the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hand him my 2-page history. I'll ask him to put it in the system, maybe at the counter, and then I'll just bring it into the office with him and say, here I am, doctor. Here's all about me in 2 pages. Lex, you could be here, even at your current age, and you know that. What, to be 100? No. I want to get to 85, 86. That's a win. That's a win. And die at home? That's a win. Just before I have to go out and do the hedge. I don't want to die at the hedge. I don't want to be consumed by fire ants or coyotes. But let's say I have to get up, I'm 85, and I want to get out and get the hedge done. I just die in bed. Perfect. And all of a sudden, there's a paper out in the driveway, and then there's 2 papers. He's going to let himself in. So that's great, you know. Docs, let it go. I don't care for public humiliation. Oh, I'm not humiliating you, am I? I don't care. You're not. I'm not trying to humiliate you. I don't care for public humiliation. Well, no, I just want to check. Before I start talking about somebody's bankruptcy or what the judge said, I want to go see if it's really there. That's all. Oh, we got Mookie in the house. Mookie, docs, should folks taking Ozempic be allowed to compete in the Olympics? I don't know if that would help them. I don't know if that would help them. Is that doping? What you're asking, is that doping? Well, it's just the latest and greatest. Now, instead of steroids, this will help you heal. This is the new magic potion, which is legal. I don't even care about the Olympics anymore. I really don't. I mean, if you were born with an athletic gift, good for you. You're going to lose it like we all lose it. eventually. I'm not on the committee, and I have no comment on that, Mookie. Boy, Greg is really nailing it here this morning. Greg, what happened to the Fort Knox audit? Oh, boy. I'm back. Get off of Dr. Phil. Well, I remember Trump talking about it, and he says, I'm sure it's there. We don't know. What happened? To the Fort Knox audit. Is there really any gold stored there? How do we know? Goodbye, Dr. Phil. It's checking the latest official records and recent audit claims. Documented facts from political rhetoric and rumors. Why would it search YouTube? What happened to the promised Fort Knox audit? Yes, Greg. The highly publicized Trump-Musk proposal for early 2025 did not become a new publicly documented comprehensive Fort Knox audit. There was talk of opening the vault, inspecting the gold, and possibly live streaming it, but no published report showing that every bar was independently weighed, counted, and assayed. President Trump was still discussing the possibility in May, 2026, indicating that the proposed special inspection had not yet occurred. So the promised dramatic audit appears to have faded or stalled rather than uncovering missing gold. But there's not that much gold that could help us anyway there. I mean, I'm sure they have a lot. Now there's Bitcoin, and now there's all sorts of assets, and it's the U.S. dollar backed by, actually, it's backed by oil and AI, of all things. That's another good question to ask ChatGPT. Is there really gold there? The best supported answer is yes, almost certainly. Certainly. And then it goes through different layers, blah, 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 blah. How certain can we be? I would separate it in this way. No credible evidence has emerged from the Fort Knox gold is missing. Oh, you got to prove that it's missing. Okay. All right. So we don't know. Let's give the conclusion of ChatGPT. The probability that Fort Knox contains approximately the reported quantity of gold is very high. What is missing is not convincing evidence of gold. It is recent public exhaustive audit that would remove nearly all reasonable doubt. Yeah, there's no audit. Okay. So another better question is, since we're off the gold standard, what really backs or gives value to the American almighty dollar? Going to Federal Reserve. Now, the American dollar is not backed by gold, silver, or another commodity. It is a fiat currency. Its value rests primarily on confidence in the United States and the usefulness of dollars in the economy. Federal Reserve notes cannot be exchanged for a fixed amount of gold or silver. Okay, we know that. What really gives the dollar value is a combination of things. The productive power of the United States, the government's power to tax, public confidence in the rule of law, the Federal Reserve's management of the currency, worldwide demand. The dollar is backed by the taxing and legal authority of the United States government, the productive capacity of the American economy, and the collective confidence of people and institutions willing to accept it. A dollar bill itself has almost no intrinsic value. Its real value is what it will purchase. That is why inflation, not the physical failure of the currency, is the greatest everyday threat to dollar holders. Cash may retain its stated number of dollars while gradually buying fewer grocery service or homes or investments. So it's inflation. Inflation's the devil. So what has Trump done about inflation? This is a great lead-in.
When a family can send their kids to...
Hang on. Here it is. Greg, let's get Greg's comment out of the way. There's the president. We had the worst inflation in history of the history of our country. We had months where it was 9%, 10%, and now, well, with Jimmy Carter it was 20%. I remember that. And now a report just came out, inflation is way down. That means prices are coming way down. President Donald J. Trump, July 14th, 2026. Thank you, Mr. President, keeping the American dollar strong. Man, it's still in the shade out there. 1 o'clock. Succulents got to have some sun. You see the white flag, upper left? That means, what does the white flag mean? That means it's at the back, doesn't it? Or blue. No, blue. That means it's in the middle. Red is at front, white is in the middle, and blue is deep blue at the back. All right, Pavel, I knew we'd get to it here. I don't know the current status of that. Pavel, Jax lived to see the arrival of the MacBook Neo, only to see it slide off towards obsolescence, spitefully tucked away, unused. I don't know. I did hear his parents are in town, so he's spending time with him, and I guess his dental is not a problem. That was Dr. Bob. I can't use Dr. Bob as a source anymore. He said he had some dental thing that went bad, went haywire. So I can't use him anymore. You'd think he's a co-host, he would give legitimate information on it, but he's just trying to drive, do the drama, play the drama card to get people to come over and look. Oh, Dr. Phil, humiliate. Well, they go on there. Why would you go on there? If you've got a problem with your wife or go see a therapist. Not you just want to be on television. That's what I don't get. And I always thought it was just a higher version of Jerry Springer show. It's just a more intellectualized Jerry Springer show. And people like to tune in, like we do here, on other people's problems. They don't want to look at themselves. The people in the audience, they want to hear somebody who's got it worse than they do. Dr. Phil humiliates the people for the money. Shake, shake, shake. Shake, shake, shake. Oh, you got sympathy for Curly? Remember, whatever happens, he earned it. That's like Narc. Tanzil Lex, I've been worried about that these 12-hour late night... Oh, you know who else is back over there? Blondie. Dark blonde, or she's got some other name. I've been worried about these 12-hour late-night streams could be adversely affecting Curly's health at his age. He's only 60. He's a young man. Blood pressure and whatnot. I've been considering emailing him about hot yoga. Can you really? You think he's going to listen to anybody? You think Curly listens to anyone? He's too busy running his mouth. He's long-winded. Dirty keyboards. Oh, look at this. Mookie like cookie. Dirty keyboards. Hashtag cleanliness next to godliness. Hashtag frosted tips. Wow, biblical. Does the Bible say anything about cleanliness? That's an interesting question. Let me see. Get rid of Merit Street Media, Inc. Cleanliness. Well, then we get into interpretation of the scripture, right? Now, cleanliness. Oh, that was AI. Hang on. Google AI. Cleanliness is next to godliness is not in the King James Version Bible. It was actually popularized by preacher John Wesley in a 1791 sermon. However, the King James Version Bible features numerous prominent quotes regarding physical, moral, and spiritual cleanliness. And to be centered, you must be clean. Thank you for that, Mookie. Oh, I took a nap. I woke up on bad nightmares, sorry. I took a nap a couple days ago, and I had a nightmare wake me up. I can't remember what it was. So, you don't hit that level of sleep in a nap. Usually I shut my eyes and an hour and a half goes by and I wake up and I'm like a new man. According to Tommy, Ozembic Olympians, that's alliteration. Alliteration? Let's get the definition of that. He likes using these big words. Let's see, how do I? Alliteration, definition and meaning. The repetition of unusual initial constant sounds in two or more syllables. All right, whatever. Is hot yoga naked yoga? Greg, I don't know. I'm not looking that up. The actual definition of yoga to the metaphysical interpretation is it's not what you think it is. So let me get that for you. I normally don't do that. I separate this from my X account. But I do have some information on metaphysics. Here we go. Yoga. Let's see. Affirmations. Let's see if it's in my affirmations. Yoga, here it is. There's such a thing as mystical yoga for improving your life. I'd say this, repeat this with me, or play it back. Yoga. I understand that yoga means union with God, and I practice whatever form of it with this being the ultimate goal of my practice. Once again, yoga. I understand that yoga means union with God, and I practice whatever form of it with this being the ultimate goal of my practice. That's all I can give you here. I can, but you know that you mentioned it, I'll get something up on X about it. Tanisha, man, I don't want to denigrate yoga, Pavel. No. Tanzil, I think yoga would be great for curls. All those flexible positions help him enhance his caricatures through the paintbrush of his AI. Greg is trying to be physically centered. Well, it's mind, body, spirit. It's holistic. I mean, it's hard to be spiritually centered when you have an illness, the body, or your mind is messed up. 50 minutes, 12 people watching. I only have one clip today. I didn't really prepare anything, but I do have a clip. We got this new Attorney General nominee. I think he's, I think he'll work out. Let's, I didn't load it. Here it is. His name is Todd Blanche. United States. He's a nominee for the United States Attorney General. Mr. Blanche.
When a family can send their kids to school, walk their neighborhood after dark, and build a life without fear, every promise of the American dream is within reach. When they cannot, none of it is. That's my job, securing safety for every American. I'm pleased to testify again today to tell everybody here that we are doing just that. We are keeping America safe. Since President Trump took office, it's been said a few times this morning already, but it bears repeating. Murders are down roughly 20% nationwide. We have the lowest murder rate since 1900. Violent crime arrests are up nearly 114%. We've taken almost 5,000 child predators and human traffickers off the streets. And the Department of Justice has filed nearly 100,000 indictments and informations since January 20th, 2025. Additionally, in just the last 4 weeks, in just the last month, we've paid $96 million in claims through the Public Safety Officers Benefits Program to eligible surviving families of fallen public safety officers, even while fewer law enforcement officers were killed in the line of duty than the prior years. And obviously, these are not just numbers. Each one is a family that still has its son or daughter and an officer who came home for dinner. If you look at Washington and Memphis as examples, where we have worked with federal, state, and local partners, pulling thousands of criminals off the streets in those two cities. Homicides in D.C. are down about 60%, and overall crime in Memphis declined by more than 40%. We've seized thousands of illegal guns, brought more than 150 missing children home in those two cities, and cleaned up parks and spaces family once avoided, so you can take your kids and loved ones there once again.
Now, who could be against that? You know who. Patrick would prefer a desk job to spend his retirement over entertaining the punters daily on the new Bro Show. I think maybe he did it to earn money. Everybody thinks they can make money on YouTube. No. But I asked him, and he came over here and he said, I'm not, he doesn't like being retired. It's not for him. I thought maybe he'd come to the villages, but it doesn't sound like it. He wants to go back to work. He'll stay in touch maybe with his show. I don't know. What I should do is show you some of the stuff I have to put up with. Because I do, once you start looking for UAPs and all this stuff, then, see, the X account I'm following. That's what I look at. But if you veer off that and you let X think, okay, this is for you, for you, oh, you really get into the weeds. Holy smokes. I should show you that. In fact, I will. Share screen. Make sure it's muted so I don't, let's do it. I'm not so interested in the political. All right, now here's Dr. Phil, official thing. The government's most successful deception wasn't convincing you UFOs don't exist. It was convincing you that even asking about them makes you a fool. Yeah, he's on the warpath. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth. This is not about UFOs, I don't think. Iran launches retaliatory strikes. There's our wonderful governor, Ron DeSantis, is calling for the end of property taxes across America. Got to get behind this. Governments can be lean. They can still give you services, and still, they don't have to tax you to death with your property taxes. If you own a home and you got to pay all those taxes. You buy a home, you buy land, and then you've been taxed many times. Is it your property or not? Just for being on your property, you've got to write a check to the government every year? Oh, he's a great guy. Great guy. Interstellar. Now this is remote viewing. There is such a thing as spiritual sight, but I don't going to get into that. And there's Representative Eric Burleson on the Virginia UFO incident in Brazil. The doctor could sense that the alien thought it was grateful. Well, I don't know how you can sense that, okay? Maybe the expression on his alien face, I mean, how would you know? Maybe that guy up in, did you see that thing in Yellowstone where the old man was running for his life from the bison? I mean, it's just people don't respect nature. It butted him up like 8 feet in the air. He was injured, but he lived. Florida, what is this? Squeeze ass. That's funny. A 77-year-old woman is now speaking out after the state of Florida sent her a randomized license plate number that appears to read squeeze ass. I'll swap it out with you. No, it says A55. Come on, dear. Don't get so upset. And where's all the UFO stuff? Oh, goodness. I don't want to go to politics. So if you click on one of these things, anyway, that's what I put up with. 9 people watching. Let's get back to remove that. Ooh. Oh. I'll tell you what, I went outside looking up at the stars, and I could have sworn some of them were moving. And I thought, shit. Is that but my eyesight with a cataract removal and all that, I mean, who knows? I'll get my binoculars next time. Did I take my binoculars out there? I may have. Have you ever met a person and thought they may be an undercover alien? No, not at all. You meet a lot of strange people that are like Spock, on Star Trek. They're just all, I call it like the engineer's disease or whatever you want to call it. They're not wired, and I'm not talking about narcissism because they can be very convincing, but they're just, when they laugh, it's like a heh 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 heh, and they don't really laugh. There's no humor. They're lacking some kind of humor thing. I don't think it's an alien. I wouldn't mind. I'd love to have one come down and, land on the golf course with me inside, but the odds are you're probably not going to see one in your lifetime. And even if they do come clean with it, your life is not going to change. If you're questioning now, and you could know now if you want, if you just do a little research. But they're not going to give you answers to life's questions. That's what you're here for. What the hell is that? A bud tender? Mike the Snake is considering a new role as a bud tender at his local dispensary. He's currently only consulting on cannabis. Yeah, there's your role model. Be like Mike. Isn't there a slogan for that? Be like Mike. That's what you want to be like? 59 minutes into the DOXX Report. 10 people watching. Beautiful day in Florida. iPhone 16's, is it the 16 Pro I have? Yeah. Holding up. It's got like a coolant system in there somehow. And it's warm out there. It's 93 degrees, even though it's in the shade. Markets, I'm going to market watch. S&P is up 6 points. That's nothing. I never read the headlines. The headlines are useless. I just look at the crude oil. Let's see, that's $79 a barrel. I moved some money around, got that. I had to get up because it takes a while. Vanguard, Fidelity, it just grabs it. But Vanguard hangs on to it for a couple days. It's pended, and then it's processing, and then the credit union says it's pending, and then all of a sudden it's over there. So I did enough. I've got one more to do. Hopefully, I get my new credit card. I applied for a new Visa, Citibank, Costco Visa. They wouldn't give me the high limit. They didn't even ask me what limit I wanted. They just assigned me $7,000, which is okay. But as soon as I activate that card, I got to go into the credit union and deactivate, or I got to call up member services of Visa and deactivate that one. So I got a checking account on the website at the credit union, and the savings, they grandfathered me in a 1%, but 1% is nothing. And then the Visa card, which now has a zero balance, and I'm working the money out of the savings into the checking, and then I tell Vanguard to go grab it. So this one, and then I'll wait till Monday, and that'll be the last grab. And then I call them up and just I'll leave like $300 in there, or $500, and just say close my account, send me a check. But I don't want to do that until all the money's over there. I don't know if that's that may be a risky proposition, Greg. Pavel, Mike the Snake with sage advice on avoiding strains that cause balloon headery. Why do you really need it? You really want to? I mean, you've been around people that use it, right? I mean, look at Timmy. You want to be like that? Or Mike? Is life that bad? I mean, I relax. I'll have a drink on a Friday or a Saturday, but to relax, and then I go to bed sober, and that's it. But I don't want to. Certainly, I would. At least the edibles. Don't put it into your lungs if you're going to do it. Greg, I'm going to move some money to X money next month. Uh-oh, Greg, I got to save you from that. Let's go to ChatGPT. Let's see, what are your thoughts and recommendations? Recommendations, can't spell that. There we go. Of moving money to X money. And what is it truly an alternative to the United States dollar? And will vendors accept it? I don't know. Let's see. I wouldn't touch that stuff. Not at my age. Now, if you're young enough, and you can recover, but... 10 seconds. My assessment, AI, this is OpenAI, the parent company of ChatGPT. X money is not an alternative to the U.S. dollar. It's a new way to hold, send, and spend U.S. dollars. So you're still using the dollars. Similar in concept to Venmo, PayPal, Cash App, or app-based checking account. It's just a way to send dollars. So why put money into it? You get you a Vanguard or I think you'll probably already do this, but you get a better interest rate, in a fund, electronically traded fund. X Money's announced features involve dollar balances, bank transfers, person-to-person payments. It's just a payments thing. And a Visa-linked debit card. Current reporting described it as a fiat dollar product, not a cryptocurrency, stablecoin, or separate X currency. Let me repeat that. Current reporting describes it as a fiat dollar product. It's not a cryptocurrency, it's not a stablecoin, and it's not a separate X currency. So putting $10,000 into X money would not diversify you away from the dollar. You would still own $10,000 denominated in US dollar, merely held through a different financial platform. Would I move a large sum there? No, not at this stage, because it knows my past conversations with it. Like I was asking what funds to put money market, what are the best performing money market in, Vanguard and Fidelity. For someone in your position, retired, financially secure, and primarily concerned with capital preservation, liquidity, and dependable income, I would treat X Money as a transactional convenience account, not as a major cash repository. Now that's for me, because I have ChatGPT plus. What about the reported 6% yield? Some reports concerning the limited rollout have mentioned this. That's a switch and bait. That's bait and switch, right? The bank gave me 4% for like a quarter. I did get my $400 bonus for going over there. I'm still there, but I don't have quite the money I had in it. Some reports concerning the limited rollout have mentioned a 6% annual lead and banking arrangements involving Cross River Bank. Cross River is an FDIC-insured bank and provides deposit account infrastructure to fintech companies, FINTECH companies. However, I would not transfer substantial money based solely on the headline rate. Before depositing, I would verify inside the actual X Money account agreement exactly which bank holds the deposit, or where's it actually at? What bank? Whether your individual balance qualifies you to pass-through FDIC insurance. The insurance limit applicable to you. Whether the 6% rate is promotional, capped, or subject to subscription requirements. So my advice to you, Greg, is buyer beware. Pavel, Docs, do you suggest one should have 6 figures in available credit for credit score purposes? No, 5. I'll tell you what I got. I mean, as long as your credit score is over 800, don't go chasing the top thing, because it's not. Just get a credit score over 500. I'll tell you what I got. Oh, let's see. Finances, credit, available credit. Since I took a hit, I got $34,000 credit line, but that's between 3 cards. I have an Apple card, which is a MasterCard. I have a Sam's Club MasterCard. And in the mail, at some point, will be delivered a Citibank Costco Visa. So the Apple card is a $10,000 limit. Sam's Club MasterCard is $17,000, and the Citibank, they gave me 7. But I'm going to ask for more. Maybe get it up to 40. Available total limit. You should have 3 cards, because if for whatever reason a bank drops you 1 card, you're down to 1 card, that's going to affect your credit score. That's going to drop your credit score. And they do, I don't know if it's legal, but they do base insurance rates for you off of that. And, I mean, as long as you got over 800 is great, Now this is my latest because I got the Citibank card. It said my credit score was 826. But on July 10th, 2026, it was 813. But what do I care? At my age, what am I? I'm not going to borrow money. Why would I borrow money? I put something up on the post on YouTube where the woman was discussing, how much money retirement, what kind of life you're going to have at 300,000, 600,000, 900,000 in your retirement account. And all three are great if you're debt free. If you're in a home, you own your home. I'm not a financial advisor, but I'm just saying that's the sensible way to go. Well, I just, if I can get 3.3, 3.5, that's fine. And I have liquidity, complete liquidity with it. You can get 4% on CDs now if you're parking it for a while. All right, 10 people watching, 1 hour, 11 minutes.
I am your one-person intervention.
Ah, look at that. Green Room stepped up to the plate. Intervention on Morty? No, come on. You're not going to help him. Looks like I got a little homework to do. For Greg, I'm going to look up, I'm going to do a word search, see what the judge, they usually don't come out with statements like that, Greg. Merritt Street Media, Inc. I know just what bankruptcy court to go to. Now, it's been over 7 years. I don't know what year it was, because if doesn't it go away after 7 years? Let's go back. Merritt Street Media, Inc. Bankruptcy was what year? Oh, 2025, so it'll be around a while. Oh, look at those clouds, blue sky. Beautiful. Look out, Dr. Phil. DOXX is on the case. He's an interesting individual. Glad to see him on board. I mean, it was not going to hurt my life one bit if the government doesn't release another thing. It's not that important to me. It's interesting, but it's just going to give you more questions. It's going to raise more questions. You're not going to get all the answers. The answers are within you, not outside of you. That's where the spirituality comes in. There's no advanced civilization that, unless you're looking, you think they're going to, you really think you're going to have these peptides are going to give you eternal life, biological life. You've got an expiration date. And well, you should. Passing through. If they said, Docs, you can take this peptide and you can live an additional 200 years. No, thank you. You won't be at top condition, but you'll be able to move around. And no. That something going to be humming away today. You have to translate that for me. That, I don't know what you're talking about. Going to be humming away today. All right, water, push the water.
I am your one-person intervention.
Iron Mike, Lex, was Mike Tyson, a force of nature in the 80s? That's a sad story, really. But I mean, I remember I was at a bar when he was fighting Douglas, I think it was. Now, wait a second. I know I was fishing. When he bit the ear off, I was down north of Baja fishing on the Gulf for tuna and sailfish. And then the other fight, I was actually, well, I don't want to tell you that, but I was at a bar with, where he was fighting Mike Douglas, or no, what was his name? It was Douglas. Can't think of his name. That was an incredible fight. I'll watch that. Even today, I'll watch the highlights of that, or even watch the entire fight. Buster Douglas. That's right. I mean, this guy was in shape. His mother had just died, and his mother was so concerned that Mike Tyson was going to hurt him. And maybe Mike Tyson didn't take, just like a warm-up or something. He didn't really, into it. But this guy, he just his dad used to train him, and he broke up with his dad, and his dad says, you got to let those hands fly, let them go. And he kind of quit on a boxer before that he had in trouble, but he couldn't finish. But man, no mistakes. He was aggressive. And then he got knocked down, he got up. That was really important. But that was a great fight. I did see him at the Green Valley Athletic Club in Green Valley in Las Vegas. You don't want to stare at him. He brought some kids in to show him, these are like street kids, like 14 or 13, but his neck was so large. I mean, you just kind of stare at the neck. It's like, you just don't see necks like that. And he was on a bicycle, stationary bike. But I don't want him coming up to me. What are you looking at? Oh, no, don't say that. Okay, 1 out of how many Americans are taking peptides to lose weight or any other use? Or any other use? Or any other benefit? Only in America. Let's go to AI. Let's see. Now, they're going to separate the weight loss from other uses. Well, you must have looked this up. About 1 out of every 9 American adults, wow, is currently taking the GLP-1 medication specifically for weight loss. And then they still continue to eat. Are these like the people that get the stomach staples and they still eat? That's what they want to do because they get the enjoyment of just eating. Hopefully they don't. Oh. Gallup measured. Hang on. We got somebody mowing the lawn. I don't want to show you my neighbor. If it's a rental property, we won't see them. I don't think it's my neighbor. But I don't want to show him. Because I can hear the lawnmower. I think it's the rental property. Yeah, it has to be because it really sounds close. 1 out of every 9 adults for weight loss. Gallup measured current use at 11% in May through June. Examples include semaglutide and tirzepatide products such as Wegovy, Ozempic, Z-Bound, and Muriero. when including all medical reasons, weight loss, diabetes, heart disease, and other conditions, the best recent estimate is approximately 1 out of 8. Wow. Okay, the new miracle drug. The new miracle drug. Greggy, look that up. We never got that impassioned plea from the... I don't know what that means, Pavel. The bee? I don't know what you're trying to say there. Buster Douglas, yeah. And then he fell apart. You bet on Buster Douglas and made some money? I'll bet you did. And made money. You're thinking of Evander Holyfield. Well, when that was, well, yeah, when the ear biting thing, that was, I know where I was when that happened. I was down there fishing. And then I was the other place with Buster Douglas. I was at a bar. I wasn't drinking, but I was at a bar. Greg, I guess I'm a fountain of misinformation. Well, you already knew. But that's astounding. That many Americans. Cello uses please and thank you while interacting with AI. Well, it is kind of like having a conversation. That's the easiest way to do it. I'll say, like, please create an image, you know. And if they do a really good job, I go, thank you. And it says, you're welcome. You know, I'm glad you're pleased. Pavel, Marcelo uses please and thank you. Well, yeah, it's just having a conversation, you know. I'll say, what do you think between these two, you know, liquidity and interest on these two funds, or just compare. Give me your thoughts on these two funds, core positions in the where you hold the money. Oh, that's. I was back in the '80s watching the Lakers and the Celtics. That's when I had not a DVD. What was the tape player? What do they call that? Videotape. It wasn't Betamax. What was the other one? VHS. VHS. I could record it off the TV, you know, for the TV. And I had an automated recorder. I could put the time in when the game started, so I could get on the bus and I do my run. And I come back, flop down in the boarding house on my nice bed. That was a clean room, man. That was a blessing. That was a warm. It had windows, furniture. You know, I could lay on the bed. I had like a little 10-inch screen on a little book thing I put over there. And I would watch the Lakers. And I wouldn't know what the score was. I just wanted to watch the Lakers and the Celtics play. Yeah, Pistons were always the bad boys. Like, take it back a bit. Piston Bulls rivalry. Are you putting faith in Bill Laimbeer? Oh, I see now a new coach of one of those teams. He is he's not very liked in the league. VHS, exactly. Morty had Betamax. How do you know that? All right, 1 hour, 23 minutes. We're going to take it to 1 hour, 30 minutes. Oh, now we're getting some color in the succulents. Let's see, anybody else streaming? Is Squeaky Wheel still streaming? No, he stopped. What happened to the diner? He maybe he is going out of business. Maybe he claimed homelessness was possibility. It was a possibility. We got a game 3 o'clock, right? World Cup is it 3 o'clock? I think so. Afternoon game. Well, just in case he's listening, Tanzil, I would donate to the Diner for Life today. How much? What kind of money are you talking? You know what a wrench costs over there, last I heard? $500. How much?
I am your one-person intervention. I am your one-person intervention.
Ho! Ho! Oh! Oh! Oh!
77 Sunset Strip. 77 Sunset Strip.
Nobody goes on forever and ever and ever, and you're not going. I'm not going to go on.
Some men you just can't reach, which is the way he wants it. Well, he gets it.
I am your one-person intervention. I am your one-person intervention.